Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello and welcome to the Dark Roast. I'm Dawna Stroll and I'm here with the always lovely and talented Rose Short. And today's topic is podcasting.
No way.
We figure we
Something we
get to
know
it
a little bit
eventually, right?
about.
So the goal today is to help you be able to set up something podcasting if you've been thinking about it and how to do it without the overwhelm, right? We're going to go through an easy start guide and just cover some of the basics for you, and which platform works best for you, why you would choose A over B, where to find some of that stuff, some things that you need, some things you don't need right off the bat, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, starting a podcast is pretty easy nowadays, but I think a lot of people still get overwhelmed with, what platform to use, what to call it, all this kind of stuff. So we're just gonna break it up super simple. We're of course probably not gonna cover everything out there because we can't. But we're gonna at least try to take the overwhelm off your shoulders.
Exactly. So, I mean, especially, when you're doing the marketing, you're the solopreneur, everything is an overwhelm, right? And so, adding one more thing, and yet you're thinking, I should really do this. The goal is to try and make it as simple as possible for you to get started. If it's something that you've been thinking about, and also to help you really make that decision. Do you want to do an audio only podcast or do you want to do a video podcast like we do? If you're super, I don't like the camera, then maybe audio is the way to go. So, um,
Sure.
why does podcasting work for affiliate and online marketers? It helps you build authority fast because people are hearing you, they're listening to what you have to say. You're seen more as an expert and trusted in your niche, because you're talking to people and providing the information that you have. Um, it has fairly high engagement. Edison research from last year says that 65% of podcast listeners have bought something from a podcast ad because they already trust you, right? So if you're going to be promoting something, they're going to have more faith that you know what you're talking about. It's the same as if you're an influencer, right? It's the same kind of concept. Evergreen content, which means that's a huge bonus, right?
Yeah.
When we live in a scrolling world, having that sit there and people be able to go back to it, to save it, to hold on to that information, new people finding it a year down the line, all that kind of stuff is huge. And and then they'll also share that to other people, right? Other friends and things like that who might have a question. And it's a good way to build relationships, right? Because people hear your voice. And if you're doing visual as well, then they can see you and they get to know you, or, who they start to feel like they know who you are. And that's really important when you're building that trust.
Yeah, we talk about authenticity all the time, and it's really hard to fake your personality if you're doing a podcast. Let's be honest, unless you're reading a script, in which case probably. But typically if you're podcasting, you're talking about something that you know and love, like we do, and so your personality is just going to come out, and it's a great way to again remain authentic and build your content around that.
Absolutely. Now, there are some pros and cons, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So why don't you take that away, my dear?
Yeah, so video podcasting like we do obviously is great for extra visibility because we post this on YouTube, we go live on Facebook, but then we can also repurpose it for TikTok and Instagram Reels by making shorts and blurbs and everything like that. There's a stronger connection because again, you can see our body language, you can see kind of what we're doing, what we're talking about, if we're showcasing a product or even the coffee cups we love. You get to see all of that. And then YouTube, as we've discussed before, is the second largest search engine used in the world, right? And so if you're on YouTube and you have your SEO and your keywords correct, you're just going to get so much more visibility that way. Now, the cons, of course, is more time intensive, right? There's more editing involved, there's lighting to consider, there's background to consider, there's all those kind of things. Um, don't necessarily need higher equipment, but maybe you do need to invest in a decent microphone if you're not using most of the computer and phone mics nowadays are pretty good, but if you're using an older computer, maybe it's struggling. So you might have some extra, ring lights, things like that, extra cost there. And then again, if you're camera shy, like we've talked about before, it might be a little nerve wracking. But those are all things that you can surmount, right? Audio podcasting, lower production cost, faster to edit and upload, easier to batch record. You don't have to worry about changing shirts or anything like that. Less pressure to look good, right? So you can roll out of bed and record as long as your voice doesn't sound tired. But it's a lot harder to repurpose that individual content. I would say it's getting easier with AI, but there is a distrust factor if you're going to use a lot of AI backgrounds. So be careful there. You're probably not going to benefit from the YouTube search nearly as well. And it can feel a lot less personal for listeners. So now you don't have to choose. You can do both. Obviously you can extract the audio and put it onto any of the podcast platforms that are audio only. But if you're doing video as well, it does, of course, you've got twice the content.
Yeah, so you basically get a 2-for-1 if if you can get over that fear of putting yourself on camera. And I will say it, going live, even if you're only doing really small 2-minute segments, and doing that for say a week or 2 weeks, and just saying, I'm going live every day at whatever time, and I'm going to do 2 minutes. It doesn't really matter what you're talking about, gets you super comfortable in front of the camera. You still might have trouble doing reels where you're making everything perfect, but the go live really takes that need for perfection out the door. And the first few times you're going to be like, oh my God. But it gets so much easier. I tell you, I would much rather go live than create videos any day.
Yeah. Well, especially if you're an overthinker, right? Because when you're trying to create, you're stumbling over your words and you're like, oh, take 2, take 3, take 4, take 5. And then you've wasted the whole day trying to get this 10-second clip where it's like, when you go live, it's just there, right? So your technical difficulties are there. Your stumbling is there. Your ums and ahs and wait, what's that word? That's all there, right? But again, that is authentic. That's raw. That's who you are. And that will connect you with some people. So it's okay to be imperfect.
And the nice thing too is that a lot of video editors like CapCut or Opus or all these other ones that are out there, they'll remove the pauses and the filler words if you want them to. So it is definitely an option where you can do that later when you're actually repurposing the video for other things. There are some popular platforms. Some are free, some are paid. Buzzsprout. So for audio, we're looking at Buzzsprout. It's beginner friendly. It's got some really good analytics. It does have a free plan for short episodes. You've got Podbean, which is affordable. It's got some built-in monetization options, which we always like, because anytime you can have more sources of income, the better it is. And then you've got Anchor or Spotify for podcasters. It's free. It's got easy distribution. It's tied to the Spotify audience. Just make sure you're reading your contracts, because I know Spotify sometimes, while it has a very large reach, it also has some pretty tricky wording. So just make sure that you're reading in any of these, making sure you're reading what their contracts state is their property, your property, what their payouts are, all that kind of stuff, just to help you, especially if you're trying to monetize the podcast as above and beyond the affiliate marketing or online marketing that you're doing within that podcast. Right?
Yeah, I do believe Anchor has changed their name.
Oh, okay.
But I could be wrong.
Oh, I mean, we have stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm old. You can't expect me to keep up with everything.
I only know because I used to use it. The last time I tried to log into the app, it like skitzed out and something went really weird. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I was like, okay, I'll just stop using you then.
See, this is how we do it. No stress. We said no.
Exactly. And then video hosting, of course, YouTube, right? I mean, YouTube is fantastic. Rumble is an alternative platform with a growing reach. And then TikTok and Instagram Reels, again, they're great for getting maybe your key points across or generating interest in what you're talking about. So, if you have this one point that you really want to make and it's 30 seconds, you can drop that in there. Or if you want to do a teaser to episodes to get people to your YouTube channel, you can do it that way. And of course, if you're getting paid for your TikTok and Facebook Reels and then they're going to your YouTube, which you're getting paid for, again, you're using the same content to generate multiple streams of income.
So basically, Anchor, I just looked it up. They've just Spotify for podcasters is their new name. It's no longer Anchor. It's Spotify for podcasters. So
Gotcha.
I was
Okay.
right. I was just wrong at the same time. It happens. So yeah, I mean, obviously YouTube is your main source if you're going to be doing videos. You can look around and see if there's other options. I mean, we're just giving you the simple, easy, the low hanging fruit, things that you can easily grab onto without having to do a lot of searching and stressing out about that kind of stuff. This is a pretty impressive stat, right? 464.7 million podcast listeners worldwide, and that was in 2023. It's projected to go up over 500 million this year, which is bonkers, right? So grab you some of that pie, right?
Oh, yeah. For
And
sure.
then,
Of course. Yep, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Of course, YouTube is the #1 podcast listening platform in the US, which is kind of insane because that's not how they started, but it makes sense. And when you upload to YouTube, you can upload as a podcast or as a playlist. So they do allow you to differentiate. But yeah, YouTube is #1 for podcasting.
Yeah,
For
we've got
podcast
ours set as a
listening.
playlist because it just makes it easier for us to separate it out. The other nice thing about the YouTube situation is that you can literally download your transcript. So not only can you repurpose the audio and have an audio only, you can, save the audio only. You can have your video, you can break it into shorts, and you can download the transcript and turn that into Word posts, blog posts. So it's a nice, very well-rounded option for yourself. Short form clips from podcasts can increase the full video views, right? So you got people who are catching that little bit and now they're curious and they want to go find more. So whether it's a listening, right? If you're doing short clips for your audio and having those little doing the AI, you can send them back to your audio only podcast and they're more likely to go and look at that because they've stumbled upon some shorts that you've captured their interest in, or same with your videos, obviously. Then they can just link back to your whole catalog and take a look and see what you got. I know I've done that many, many times.
Yeah, same. And the average podcast listener listens to 8 shows per week, so 1 or 2 a day. Meaning that there's room for a new favorite, right? Because, I mean, the invention of the headphones and everything else and like just the immediate access we have to internet, like you see people, more and more people walking around with headphones like down the street, right? And there's a good chance a lot of them are listening to podcasts, or they're listening to podcasts on the drive to work, or if their job allows headphones, they're listening to podcasts at work, right? So it makes sense that more and more people are listening to these because they don't have to watch it, right? Like even if it is a video format, they can go to YouTube, click the playlist, and then they don't have to necessarily watch the video. And so there, 8 shows per week. Again, there's plenty of time throughout the day that they can add in another podcast. So, no matter what your niche is or your specialty, if you're feeling overwhelmed, like there's just too much saturation or anything like that, maybe you've got that tone of voice that people just love. And
Absolutely. And you never know what people are going to be interested in. My husband likes to watch this one where this guy literally goes and plays slots and live casts it. Him and his sons go and do this, and they talk about which ones they like and which ones they don't, and which ones work best, and all those kinds of things. So it can literally be anything. And then there's another one that he likes. The Quack Bang or something. It's like, what is it? Called The Fat Electrician. and he just tells history stories, but he also monetizes that greatly. Like, people come to him and he has his things that he does on there, promotes and whatnot. But yeah, he does a lot of history stuff. So it can really be anything that you're, talking about and monetizing, as long as it works for you. So maybe you are, um, I want to say, like, off-grid living, right? Or homesteading. There's so many affiliate options within that you could literally have a homesteading channel and then do your videos and your audios and have your affiliate programs within that. So don't think it has to be a really narrow bandwidth. I think we get very caught up in affiliate marketing thinking it's basically the make money online or digital products or something like that. And it's so much wider than that.
Yeah. Agreed.
So there are some things you can do to get you started without having to freak out and lose your mind and go, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, there's so much. First thing you got to do, though, is pick your format. You have to decide what you're going to do. And maybe you start with one and then you might transition over to the other later on. It is easier to not have to do that.
Yes.
But if you're absolutely dead set on, I'm not going to do video, then that's fine. Know yourself, know your worth, do what you need to do.
Yep. And then, of course, choose what you're going to talk about, right? And you can talk about multiple themes on one podcast, or you can break it up into separate podcasts, but choose your niche and your angle. And then if you have affiliate offers that you already promote, absolutely tie those in. And if you don't, go ahead and look for affiliate offers within that niche and whatnot. And remember too, like, the bigger you get, you'll probably get reached out to you for paid promotions as well. So even if you don't have an affiliate offer, or you're not trying to sell anything, you just want to talk about something that you know a lot of stuff about, that's okay too. Go ahead and start.
Yeah, that's basically what we did, right? Because
Yeah.
we felt that it was important to get the information out there without it having a paywall. That doesn't mean that we don't have affiliate programs. It doesn't mean that we don't have programs and educations that we believe in strongly. It just means that we wanted to give you all a good starting space for that. Batch plan is another one. Sort of plan out your first 4 to 6 episodes, have a list of topics that you're going to be talking about. It makes it a lot easier if you're not running around last minute. Like, I have the luxury of being able to sort of wing it a little bit more but if we were both working full time, absolutely not, right? You need to have those things batched out. You do them on the weekends, and then you pick your day that you're going to be, doing that. And also, if you're not going live, this gives you an opportunity to have maybe 4 episodes that you're pumping out right away, so that you've got a good base, and then you can build from there. We go live, so we're not going to have that base to start with, but we do now. I mean, we've got almost 2 years coming. We're heading into our second year. November will be the 2 years of doing this. So
And then choose easy starter gear, right? Ring lights are pretty cheap now. You can get the desktop versions. Those are really great. Some of them will have a phone holder in the center so that you can make sure that your lighting is good. Mics, they're on TikTok Shop all the time, right? These little clip-on ones, they're super cheap and super user-friendly. Or you can get a desktop version. You don't need the whole like overhead hanging thing. Like, that's great once you get established, and those mics are really good, but you really don't need a lot. I mean, when I first started filming with my camera or with my phone, it was literally just my phone mic because it was good enough to pick it up.
yeah.
Now, as I do more stuff at a distance, obviously I do need the the other mic, but you don't have to go out and spend $1,000 on recording equipment or video equipment or anything like that. You can just start with your phone.
Yeah, like, how many podcasters that do audio actually do it in their closet?
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the clothes and whatnot to help dampen it. If you don't have that, then put up some tapestries or whatever, the big ugly tapestries on your walls. choose a room that has more furniture, something that's just going to help dampen it. These are all things that you can do without actually having to spend more money to make it happen, right? Like it's nice to haves, but they're not the necessities. If you're going to do visual, try to have a decent camera, and it doesn't matter, even if you're using your phone, right? A lot of phones have amazing cameras now. So then all you're trying to do is make sure that you've got good lighting, not from the back, so that you're all dark in front. I have seen that. It's the same rules as if you were doing reels, right?
Mm-hmm.
They teach you with reels. Make sure that you've got good lighting, make sure that you can be heard, that kind of stuff. But that's really all there is. And we do a ours is sort of an interview or a duel, but podcasting doesn't have to be two people. It can be one person, and then you can invite guests from time to time if you want, right? It's really, really simple. Select where you're going to host, right? Who you're going to be distributing. So whether or not you're audio or visual, choose your platform. Because that's, again, that's where everything's going to be housed. So you want to make sure that you're happy with the platform. So do a little bit of research beforehand to make sure that, where you're putting it is where you want it to stay. I mean, you can always move it later, but it's always nicer if you don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to, but whatever. At least then, if you start with somewhere where you think you want to stick around, it's less likely that you're going to have to go through all that hassle.
Yep. And then plan your repurposing, right? You don't want to get started and then by episode 4 be like, oh, maybe I should be putting this out somewhere else. So if you're doing audio only, maybe, plan a blog to go with it. Or if you already have a blog, just start using the blog to go ahead and direct to that podcast and then repurpose that way. If you're doing video like we do, again, shorts, quote graphics, newsletters, even if you've got an email list, start, or if you want to start an email list, get yourself your email and then start getting the list going and start sending newsletters talking about, this is what we talked about this week. This is what we're going to talk about next week, all that kind of stuff. Like there's so many different ways to repurpose and get people into your ecosystem, but you should have a plan for that before you get started.
Yeah, it can be a loose plan to start off with. Again, we're not trying to get you bogged down in all the details, right? It gets too hard if you start thinking about all the things all at once, right? And then, of course, obviously, the main one, engage your audience, right? So at the end of your episodes, you want to have a call to action that's clear, whether it's, like, subscribe, share, that kind of stuff. If you have something that you want them to download, make sure you mention that. Or if you have a link that you want them to check out, and this is why, just a reminder for that kind of stuff. So make sure that it has a good, solid call to action at the end. And you just add that as on the end, so you don't have to repeat it all the time. You can adjust that as you go along. But it's pretty straightforward. You want to pick your format. You want to make sure you've got your niche chosen. You want to batch your first 4 to 6 episodes if you're not going live, because if you obviously live, you can't do that. You want to choose some easy starter gear, a decent, you got a decent camera or mic or whatever, or at least choose your space to make sure that your setup is good for whatever it is that you're choosing to do, whether it's audio or video. Select your platform again, and that's going to come with, your format. And then, figure out how you're going to repurpose it, because it's going to make it easier for you when it comes time to do all those things. It's a pretty short checklist, really, to get started. And it doesn't require a lot of money output. It doesn't require a lot of, setup in order to get it done either.
Yep. And then once you've gotten started, obviously, you think about expandability, growth, all that kind of stuff. So consistency, we talk about it all the time, right? Be consistent. Like we go live on Fridays at, it's 700 for me. I think it's 10 for
It's 10
you,
for me
Dawna.
right now, and then when the time switches, it's 9. That's why it
Yeah.
it stays the same for you all the time.
Yep. But decide like how much time and energy can you put to this? Are you gonna do it weekly? Are you gonna do it bi-weekly? Whatever it is to keep the algorithm happy, show that you're consistent, and of course, tap into your audience's habits.
Yeah.
And then we talk about all the time SEO. So make sure that your keywords and whatnot are in your titles or in your descriptions. Make sure if you're using a hooky title that it matches your episode. Don't be a spammy clickbaiter. Nobody likes that. So
No.
we talk about SEO all the time because it's super, super important.
Exactly. And then you want to have cross promotion. Okay. So if you can appear on somebody else's podcast, because there are people who put out calls from time to time, like I'm looking for women who do this or men who do that, or people who are in this industry or that industry. If they put the call out, answer it. Don't be afraid. Right. And maybe you do the same. Every so often you put a call out and see if maybe there's somebody that you can add to your podcast who can lend a little bit of authority or maybe a different point of view. And then that way you're sharing the audience, right? Because you're going to get some of their audience, they're going to get some of your audience, and we can share it that way. And then you want micro content strategies. So short, juicy clips, TikTok, YouTube shorts, Instagram, even Facebook for your stories, that kind of stuff. Things that you can put out there very quickly, just enough to pull people in. Like, what you got going on there?
Yeah.
Pardon me.
And then listener interaction, we talk
Yeah.
about all the time. Like that's why we're always asking you guys for questions or comments or anything like that.
Like, come
GCN
on,
actually,
people.
right?
We want to
GCN
know.
Tech actually has a whole episode a week dedicated to answering people's tech questions. So make sure that you are reading those questions, or even sharing concerns, comments of the week, things like that. Just to let listeners know that you are in fact paying attention to them and are interested in what they have to say as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're the whole reason you're doing this, right? So you might as well make sure that you're paying attention. This isn't a void. It may sound like a void, it may feel like a void sometimes, but it's not. The whole purpose is to help other people. And then monetization from day one if you're able to. So if you've got affiliate links, use those links in, whether it's in the show notes or you're commenting or you're putting a link on screen. If you've got discount codes, that kind of stuff, you can say, hit me up. The goal is to do it naturally. So you're not like sham wow guy or whatever. But,
Or robotic.
that as well. That as well. The goal is the whole point of this is to help increase your affiliate network, to expand who you're reaching out to, and also to try and build up that income as well as the confidence level in you, right? That's what your podcast is going to be for, is to help build that confidence in you, but also to get the word out about what it is you do. So yeah, please don't forget to monetize when you can. Try to do it early. Try to do it reasonably often, but not creepy often.
Yeah. And a podcast can be as simple as a vlog as well, right? Like
Yep.
one of the big YouTubers, I can't remember her name. She got started just by filming basically her reacting to the stupidity of her job, or stupid people at her job, right? Like, so she would basically just record and vent about her job, and people loved it because who doesn't like venting about their job or hearing that someone else's job is worse or their
Yeah.
bosses are more stupid or whatever, right? And she eventually monetized and was able to quit said stupid job because so many people were had listened. And of course, she did lose some followers because they were there for her to vent about her job and she no longer had the job. But then she was able to transition it into talking about things that she was really interested in and was able to continue and keep the monetization and keep growing. So It can be as simple as that, as, especially if you're a very, I would say, reactive or dramatic person. Those can do very well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there are some that I find that it's like, if you're somebody who's very acty, you can create like a whole like talking to yourself kind of thing where you become playing like 2 parts or 3 parts or stuff. People love those as well, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And with the filters and stuff that we have nowadays, you don't even have to go and do like a lot of changing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different options. The goal is just to find what works for you and to make it easy for you, especially starting out. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. You can always upgrade step by step. You can literally start on your phone. And that goes for whether you're doing audio or if you're doing video. Um, if you're doing audio, the only thing I would suggest is making sure that your surroundings, the echo and whatnot, is much better, because your voice is the only thing they're going to have to connect to, right? So you want to make sure that it sounds as good as possible. That's it. All right. So if you've been looking for a reason to start your podcast, this is it.
We're telling you to start.
Yeah. Yeah, you just got to hit the record. So that's it. And next week, I've decided
Yes. I love it.
we are going to talk about the art of bonus stacking in affiliate marketing, because all the big guns do it.
Yes. And there is
Right?
a right way and a wrong way.
Exactly. So the goal for next week is going to be choosing the right way to do it, without infuriating the people that you're trying to get through your whole affiliate thing. Right now, some programs will do it for you, some you'll do it yourself. But if you want to do it yourself, you can certainly do it with multiple affiliate programs, and there's no reason why you can't, make more money, honey.
Yeah. That's all about. That's what we all want to do, right?
Exactly. So I think that is it, and that is all, my dear.
I think so too.
All right. Have a good weekend, peoples. Bye.
Happy Friday.
If you found this helpful, please drop a comment, share, and hit that subscribe button. Your feedback is super helpful in growing this channel.
And of course, if you have any questions or if there's any specific thing that you would like us to talk about, drop that in the comments too. Happy Friday!
Happy Friday, everyone.